Well, it's been a while since I've reacted to a Rick Beato video. I think it was like 4 years ago, maybe. I think during the pandemic. But this video was recommended to me in my Discord. There's a channel there where people can recommend the videos for me to react to. And the topic of this video is very interesting. It's about AI. And I have a very specific opinions about AI. And they are informed more or less by the chess world. So it's a opinion that it's a little bit out there, but I think this would be a good opportunity to share that opinion. And I can imagine that you think I'm totally off base, and you know I might be, because I'm so influenced by what happened to chess. So not jazz, but chess, right? The game, the board game chess. That I see AI in music as the same as the powerful chess engines that can beat humans. Well, the strongest human is Magnus Carlsen, can be beat by a chess engine that you have on your phone. No problem, right? I think Magnus Carlsen is around 2900, something like his EDO rating, and the chess computers are around 3600, something like that. So there's no chance for a human to ever beat an engine, because even if the engine would be 100 points higher, you would already not be able to beat it probably. So 700 points, you don't have any chance. But before I share too much about that topic, let's see what Rick says about it. I've watched the beginning, so I already know he pulls a prank with Jacob Collier, but that's how far I've watched it, and I'm very curious what he has to say. Of course, I know that he testified before U.S. Congress, I think, about it, and he has strong opinions about AI. So let's see.
You guys have been hearing me talk about AI and how advanced some of these things are getting. I mean, listen to this. This sounds so realistic to me.
So I already know this is Jacob Collier, because I've watched the beginning of the video. But I have to say, so I understand why he's saying this, because you can hear, obviously, a lot of vocal processing. Not that it is weird to process vocals, but I mean, it's kind of crazy what you can do nowadays, right? You can tune it very precisely. There's lots of compression, multiple stages of compression, maybe compression when you're recording it. And then there is vocal writing. You can shift everything in time, right? So there's nothing bad about Jacob Collier. It's just normal to process vocals, but there's a lot of processing going on. So that's probably why he chose it.
Especially when it gets to this part here.
Just how to wake me. She paints me gold and shakes me. I get a little lonely.
Actually,
she comes to.
That's Jacob Collier. That's not actually AI. But a couple weeks ago, somebody sent me a song that I heard that is actually AI. Check it out.
Okay, so now I'm curious. I haven't heard this. Let's see. At the bottom, you see the prompt. So that's basically what you type in. I don't know which AI program this is, but they typed contemporary country. Let's see. Let's see.
Yeah, check it out.
Prompt. Country pop, contemporary country, tropical rock. Never heard about tropical rock. Country rock, mellow, longing. Okay.
Carolina, 5'5", bright blue hair,
Harmonies.
brown eyes, sleep beneath the neon signs.
Southern accent.
Well, you know, sounds very real to me, although I can hear a lot of vocal processing again. But that was also the case with Jacob Collier, but there's a lot of vocal processing. It sounds real to me because I've listened a lot to, for instance, Edison Krauss and Union Station. Now, I'm not saying it's on the same level, but it's the same vibe, you know. I don't know what's that album called. I forgot the name, but there's a song on that album. I'll put the album on screen. There's a song on that album I will put the song name to that is very similar in vibe, you know. So it sounds real to me.
Tonight, we don't need to talk things through, or you can cry the whole way too.
Carolina O.
Feels alright to you, 'cause you got baggage, I got room, babies. Singing Carolina, oh, it's a long and winding road.
But one thing I notice now, when the word singing, there's a very strong S. And that you wouldn't hear that on a commercially produced album, because they would be using a de-esser a little bit more effectively. And also, the word after it does have the S in a more pleasant way. Let's listen to that again. Okay, a little bit back. Yeah, you hear that S there? So that S is a little bit too strong, I think. I think they would work on that. But then the S in the word after it, it's, then the S is normal. So, I mean, of course, I know it's AI, so I'm listening, trying to find something. Probably you won't hear that S, by the way, because there's a de-esser on the microphone. Well, no, you would be still hearing it. No, you won't hear an S because the sound is mixed together. So if you want to hear what I mean, go to Rick Beato's video. There's a link, and you can hear that S very, very loudly.
Some of you may be saying, this sounds actually better than the stuff that you play on the Spotify countdowns. Well, it's funny. I play this song, I'm walking with my phone, I start playing it in the kitchen, and Dylan looks at me and goes, that's AI. And I said, what? It is AI. How do you know that? He said, it's got this weird sound to it. And I said, what? Is it some high-pitched thing that I can't hear? He goes, no, it's something in the voice. It's so obvious.
Really? I didn't notice that. Let me listen to it one more time.
So, thing that. He said, it's at me, he goes, I play this song back.
Singing Carolina, oh, it's a long and winding road.
Some of you may be saying, this.
We don't need to talk things through, or you can cry the whole way to
Carolina, oh.
Feels all right to you, 'cause you got baggage, I got room, babies. Singing Carolina, oh, it's a long.
I don't really hear it. I mean, you could say something about the backing vocal being very precisely the same as the lead vocal, but I mean, you could work on that in the studio. Normally, when you record backing vocals, the backing vocal wouldn't really say the last letters of the word if it ends on a, you call that in English, consonant, like room. Then they wouldn't say the M; they would just say roo, because the M. You want to have that in sync, so then you would leave that to one vocal. But, I mean, that doesn't happen a lot in this track. I don't hear anything weird in the vocal, weirder than, for instance, in the first recording of Jacob Collier, so.
Some of you may be saying, this sounds actually better than the stuff that you play on the Spotify countdowns. Well, it's funny. I play this song, I'm walking with my phone, I start playing it in the kitchen.
It's even on the phone. He played it on the phone, then I probably wouldn't be able to tell at all.
And Dylan looks at me and goes, that's AI. And I said, what? It is AI. How do you know that? He said, it's got this weird sound to it. And I said, what? Is it some high-pitched thing that I can't hear? He goes, no, it's something in the voice. It's so obvious. So a bunch of his buddies came over a couple days later, all 10th graders, and I put together a little playlist of 10 songs. 5 were AI songs and 5 were not AI songs. And I start playing them. One of them was a Jacob Collier thing that they didn't know. I start playing them, and it's funny because Dylan instantly got all the AI ones correct. And the other ones, he goes, no, this is real. And there were songs they'd never heard. But the other kids couldn't get them.
I don't hear it, but, it reminds me of a phenomenon that was happening the last 15 years at universities or conservatories, where people that were auditioning for vocals started sounding like they were singing with Autotune. I think this is a certain, especially the older Autotunes or Metadyne, like maybe like 15 years back when it wasn't as advanced as it is now. Because if you know how to use it, you can pretty much tune someone in such a way that you don't hear it. Now, I usually hear it because people go too far, but if you really evaluate each note and then determine, should I tune this note or not? Like if you do it that way and try to keep it as natural as possible, you won't be able to hear it. But like 15 years ago, you could easily tell, and even nowadays I can tell, especially when you go to like EDM music, I can hear it immediately. But there's a certain kind of thing that happens to the voice, and the people that started singing live started mimicking that sound, so it's kind of funny. But I'm thinking about this, like when AI gets very popular, AI music, maybe it already is, then maybe real vocalists will start sounding like the AI vocals.
For something that he can hear. So the other day,
I don't hear it.
somebody sends me an email and he's like, I wrote this song that I think is a hit with AI. So I start playing it.
She took her favorite horse on
Dolly Parton, indie rock, indie rock. Dolly Parton, that's fine. Dolly Parton is, of course, not indie rock. So that's a funny combination.
the beach, where she couldn't hear her phone, so out of reach. Sad little girl.
I'm walking in the hall with my phone again, and Layla says, why are you listening to AI? I was like, what? How do you know that?
Well, both of these songs sound kind of formulaic, but of course, I shouldn't say this, but a lot of music that comes from Nashville is formulaic. A lot of music that comes from Nashville also is not formulaic and very good. Lots of stuff is very good, of course, but there's also lots of formulaic music. Why? Because it sells. So that's maybe the one thing you could say, well, this music is very formulaic, might have been generated by AI. I mean, I've been saying this kind of stuff for many years now. I won't mention any names, but I remember someone saying to me, come on, I got 2 tickets to this concert of this popular artist. And what was the style of it? You could call it maybe like pop music. Like just really like pop music, like just nice songs, all about lyrics. And I didn't know this artist really. I mean, I knew the name, but so I listened to the album and I was like, oh, this is really... I mean, do I want to go to a concert of this vocalist that's singing nice songs with a kind of a backing track? It sounded to me like everything was sung with a backing track because everything sounded so formulaic. Of course, these were studio musicians that were just given the tune, right? And they were just playing, and they have to sound a certain way. It was produced a certain way, and everything sounded the same. But then we went to see the live concert, and it sounded exactly like that album. So we actually walked out of there after a couple of tunes because it's really not interesting to listen to it at all. So in that sense, that stuff is probably very easy to generate by a computer, by AI, right? Because it already sounded like it anyway.
That's AI. She's like, are you kidding me? You can't hear that? The echo in the voice? It's like, there's no echo in the voice. She just has a weird sound. I said, what is it?
I want to see it again. Echo in the voice. I want to hear it again.
And here. So the other day, somebody sends me. So I start.
Where she couldn't hear her phone, so out of reach. Sad little girl. She took her favorite horse on the beach, where she couldn't hear her phone, so.
Yeah, because I know it now, of course. But maybe it's like sometimes the words sound like they are separately recorded, like a one word. But you know that even happens in real folk recordings, because what they do, they record like 4 tracks, right? 4 vocal tracks, and then they comp the vocal track. So they take a sentence from this track, and then they take a sentence from another track, and then sometimes they take a word from the 3rd track. Sometimes they even split words up between tracks because in track 1 the first syllable of amazing sounded better. You get stuff like that. So. Yeah, that's why I don't really hear anything weird about this. Okay, let's go.
Why are you listening to AI? I was like, what? How do you know that that's AI? She's like, are you kidding me? You can't hear that? The echo in the voice?
I don't hear echo,
it's like, there's no echo in the voice. She just has a weird sound. I said, what is it? And then I go over to Dylan and I ask him. He's like, oh my God, that is so fake. And I was like, wait, what?
It is fake, but a lot of the real music is also kind of fake because it's recorded in a fake way. Now, I'm not saying that's bad or anything. I mean, it's bad in some way, but if you enjoy listening to it, then how can it be bad, right? Like this artist that we went to see, there were thousands and thousands of people that really enjoyed that. So, and they like it. I don't like it, but that's because I have another background in music, and I know and I accept that the music that I like, most people don't like, right? Yeah, that's just what happens. But it happens probably in lots of fields. Like it happens with movie critics. Probably lots of the movies they like are not liked by the general audience or by me, for instance, right? I enjoy a nice Marvel movie, an entertaining Marvel movie, but I can see it if you're a serious movie critic and you only go see Fassbinder movies or stuff like that, then you probably hate it. So yeah, I can see that, and it happens probably in art, in literature, everywhere.
And I play it again.
Sad little girl, you closed all the doors, and now her favorite song just never comes
I
on.
mean, it's auto-tuned. I mean, it sounds like it's auto-tuned to the max, right? So that makes it sound fake, but it also happens with real vocalists.
And the funny thing is, this guy writes to me, he says, I think I wrote a hit song with AI. What do you mean you wrote a hit song? The prompt is rock, indie rock, alternative rock, regional music, melodic singer, songwriter, instrumental. Prompt, Dolly Parton, indie rock, Tears in the Sand. That was it. I guess that's the prompt. Then this metal band writes me,
You know, I understand what Rick is saying, but yeah. Is it so different from how lots of these songs are written, though? I mean, lots of the beats are not even like, especially when the song is written, the beats are just generated anyway by with samples, right? Then like the pads there, it's all synthesizers and it's all formulaic. So yeah, maybe this guy is not a musician, but he kind of wrote it. He didn't write it in the traditional way like a composer, but I'd say the difference between him writing a song like this with prompts is not so different from a couple of like songwriters that have to write formulaic music. So I'm not saying that they can only write it, but that they have to write it, right? Because that sells. Doing it like that, it is different, but the difference is not as big as Rick is implying, I think, in my opinion.
the other day, they're a band from Belarus and say they have a new song that's an AI generated, completely AI generated thing. Now, they're actually a band that has other things on Spotify, but they sent me this song.
But how do we know that the other stuff on Spotify is not AI though? Because there's this YouTuber, Frosty. I forgot his name. I'll put his name on the screen. So he plays Diablo 4. That's a game, and he makes very entertaining videos about other reviewers of that game. And then every video he puts a song there, a funny tune that he wrote with AI. Maybe using the same AI in this video, and he made, and that's very those videos are very popular. They're very funny if you know the game, if you know the people he's talking about, and the songs sound exactly like the songs that we hear in this video. By the way, like the same kind of vibe, the same kind of compression and limiting. And he put that album on Spotify. I bet it sells.
These are all done with the same program called Udio.
Udio, okay.
I'm pushing back against the grain I stand.
Okay, so but these vocals sound weird, but again, you know, that could be the effect that was used in a real vocal. Well, it sounds like it's there's a distortion on it, right? Some kind of exciter, and it sounds like it's double track or something.
Breaking the mold, they try to cast for me. Eyes open wide, no more the will to blind. I suppose it's like my truth is what I find.
Right.
Voices inside, they build a raging storm.
Okay, so then I
That sounds pretty good, huh?
go to this website, Udio, and I start looking at different things. And I find this one movie score thing it's called A Handful of Dust. It's supposed to be like spaghetti western thing, and click on it.
Yeah, that's Ennio Morricone. Okay. So, the chord there goes to A minor, but the whistle plays like this. I'm not sure Ennio Morricone would do that. Maybe he would do it, but sounds like, because Ennio Morricone is a very tonal writer, so it's kind of weird that the whistling doesn't change with the chords. But, I might be wrong there. But I did play a lot of Ennio Morricone's music. I had a project where I had to play all that stuff.
Now, of course, it's Ennio Morricone.
Sounds good, though. I mean, if I would be a movie composer and I'd have to write or I have to write something in this style, I'd use this, because I've been hired for a Dutch movie to write something in this style. And it was a rush job that needed to be done in 3 days. And they paid me a lot of money to do it. And I didn't sleep for 3 nights almost to finish it, because it was like maybe 1.5 hours of music. And not everything was in this style, but there were some of the scenes that had to have this style. So I listened to a bunch of Ennio Morricone to get close to his style. And they paid me a lot of money. And, you can now generate it here for free, right?
His style music done by AI, trained by his scores. Now, when you listen to this, you can see that this is something that people will use in the future. They will just bypass composers and use this. I've been saying this forever. Not everyone can tell that this stuff is not real. Most people cannot tell the stuff. Some of you may be saying,
yeah, it's true. You will bypass composers, but having worked a lot in the movie industry as an orchestrator, arranger, a lot of the compositions were already made by a composer, for instance, that just played a little bit of MIDI. The composer couldn't really write scores themselves, and they would hire orchestrators. It happens for Hollywood movies. Happened for the movies I was writing for, television shows, and so the composer credit would go to the person that came up with maybe the theme and some chords, but then the orchestrator has to do a lot of work to write that for an orchestra, and that's a lot of stuff that is added there, right? Orchestration, you have to write for the strings, you have to write for the woodwind, the percussion, a lot of work, but you wouldn't get any composer credit for that, even though maybe you have to do more work than the actual composer. Now, I'm not saying every composer is doing it like that, but that did happen already. So, yeah, I can see Rick's point, but that bypassing the composer, it was already a lot of composers, like a real composer, were already bypassed by people that were very handy with electronics and computers.
Wow. I cannot believe this. Some of you will like some of this stuff. I kind of like that Caroline Osen, I have to say.
I mean, I would never listen to it, right? So, but I would never listen to real music that sounded like that as well. I was talking about Alison Krauss, and I've listened a lot to Alison Krauss, and I really like it. But the quality of music there is higher. Not because of the songwriting, although the songwriting is very good, but because of the instrumentalists playing on it. And how do I know that? Because they're playing great solos. And that's the one thing that is missing from, let's say, modern pop music, let's say starting 2005, right? There's no real place anymore for great soloists. Not in every genre, right? Like if you listen to John Mayer, there's still great guitar solos. But it's not the same kind of reference for that kind of work. So to hear that, you have to go to music that is actually played by musicians that write the music themselves. Or that is like a working band where they always play together and it's not like studio musicians playing. So the band of Alison Krauss, Union Station, I know the names of all those musicians, right? And I know what they play, I know how they play, and you can hear it on the album because they play great solos. That's one of the reasons why I listen to that music. I like the songs, I like the singing, but I also like the solos. I like the fiddle solos by Alison Krauss. I like the banjo solos by Ron Bloch. I like the guitar solos. I forgot his name, but it's a guy. Hey, brother, is the voice in Brother Where Art Thou? I put his name on the screen. I like all the solos there, right? So, of course, Jerry Douglas on dobro, and that's one reason I like to listen to it. Like that concert I went to, there were no solos there. I think there was one like one saxophone solo that I heard. But on the album itself, there are almost no solos or no solos. And most people are not interested in it anyway, right? They want to hear the vocals and they memorize the lyrics. So that's one dead giveaway that music is not played by musicians that are touring with the band. Is like there's no solos. So then it's just studio musicians just playing a backing track, which is not that far away from AI music.
Then I just found this chill music thing. This is called Just For Me, Chill Step, Good Vibes.
The world is turning. Yeah, it's turning around for me.
I mean, if there ever was a music style that seems like it should be produced by AI, is this, of course. I mean, these beats are very generic. It's just pads, it's just ambient sounds, and yeah, that makes sense to me.
The sun is rising.
It's great to like play a video game, right? Or maybe on Twitch or something. Why not?
Yeah, it's rising just for me.
This is the thing that I've talked about for years, is all the digital processing of the human voice that's happened with Autotune and everybody else. Oh, here Rick goes again on beat correction and pitch correction. He hates Autotune, everything bad with Autotune. It's like, look, if you want to sound like computers, it's easier for computers to sound like computers than it is for people to.
Yeah, that appears to be very true, right? That is true.
Sound like computers. They'll just bypass the people, and the companies that make this stuff will make all the money because people will listen to this. And it's funny, even though Dylan can.
But yeah, I see that point. But is it so different from a record company just publishing a lot of bullshit anyway, or like a lot of formulaic music that is not really, doesn't have any ear-catching qualities except for maybe like the lyrics speak to you. I don't want to mention names, but there's of course maybe one of the biggest pop artists of this time. Great musician, great singer, but a lot of the tunes, or a lot of the songs are very formulaic. What's the difference between that and just formulaic songs by AI? And who's making the money on that? I don't think. If your concern is, okay, I want to hear good music by good musicians, then probably you should go to music genres where there's not a lot of money. That like maybe bluegrass or jazz, blues, like where you see real musicians on stage that have practiced for years to play good solos, right? Because that's all what's all about. There's not a lot of money in that music, because to appreciate that music, it requires actually some studying, or like growing up in an environment where other people appreciate that music. So that's just a small group, and there's no money in that. So I'm not so concerned about who's making the money on AI music. I don't think, for me at least, there's not much difference between a company that invents an AI that can produce formulaic music and a record company that's already putting out formulaic music. And the only difference is then that there's some people involved that write formulaic music.
Recognize this stuff every time I play it for him. He said to me, he's like, in 6 months, I probably won't be able to tell the difference. I can't tell what he's hearing and why he can recognize it instantly. And Layla can hear it too. But there's something in it that they can instantly recognize. Layla calls it an echo. I don't know what it is, but it will get better.
Sure.
No question about it. It will get better. They have prompts that are written right on here. The prompt for this chill music says prompt: chill, chill step house, hip hop, chill hop, chill wave, strong female vocals, clear vocals, growing. That's the prompt. And it comes up with that. People will do this, and they'll just make up their own songs on platforms like this.
Yeah.
They'll have their own playlists, and you basically can make it a copy of the stuff that you already like. Why won't people do that? They will.
But if it's a copy of the stuff that you already like, and the music was already like that, then it was already not very interesting music for me, right? In my opinion. So, yeah, I want to see. Like, you could of course make a copy of, let's say, a Charlie Parker recording, But it's a little bit different because the reason why you like Charlie Parker, in retrospect, of course, we have these recordings, but there's also this excitement, and that's where I'm going to get to. It's like when you go to a live jazz gig to see the person there live improvising on some tune that you know and see where it goes and see how other people react to it. That's a live thing. And I'm not sure if he's going to say something about it, but let me go there to my thing with chess, right? So there was a chess computer maybe in the 90s or 80s even called Deep Blue, and it was the first chess computer that beat a human ever. And it was actually Kasparov, he was beat by Deep Blue. And people said, this is the end of chess, right? Because computers will only get better, and they did, because now there's a computer on my phone that's better than any human. So why would people be playing chess? It's not interesting anymore, because they will always be inferior to what a computer does. But the opposite happened, right? Chess became much more interesting. Why? Because now when you watch chess, there's some commentators, and they have access to an engine, of course, and then they would say, okay, the engine says here that b6 is the best move, but that's not a very human move, right? Because these people, of course, they are experienced chess players, and they know how humans think. And then it becomes this thing of like, what is Magnus Carlsen going to do as a human, right? And then there's the psychological moves, and there's a whole other aspect of the game that we have access to now because of these engines, because we can compare what a human does to the best engine lines. And we can also learn from the engine sometimes, or we could actually determine that the move that we should do should be the human move because it puts more psychological pressure on the opponent. And live chess is becoming very interesting because of that, right? Because of this interaction with the engine. Now, in music, it's not going to work the same way, but the point is the same. Like live music will get more interesting because everybody knows we can already create perfect music with AI, right? So why should I buy the recording of this chill hop artist if I can just produce it with AI? But if we can go see an artist live, then it's a whole different dynamic. There's the interaction with the audience, there's the interaction between the musicians among each other. And right now, or the past 10 years, live music has been suffering a lot because, well, you could download music for free and people could just listen for free. Why go to live music? But now there's this AI thing. People might actually be more interested in watching live music. But that also means that musicians that specialize in playing live get more attention. That's good for me, of course, because that's what I specialize in, playing live. And that means that musicians that spend their days in recording studios, recording formulated music, they might have a problem. And it's easy for me to say, but I've been in both worlds because I've recorded so much film music and commercial music in the time that people still used live musicians, right? So I'd be there every week, easy money because it was easy music to play, and we'd be recording these stupid tunes for commercials. At one point, samples got better and better, and they started using more samples, and that kind of work stopped anyway. So it's only logical progression that kind of work that can be done by computers, and it has been going on for a longer time than just now with AI, right? Already samples and Ableton with loops and stuff. I mean, I think it's good that the attention again shifts to live playing. And that's the same thing with chess. Let's say a game is recorded between two humans, and then watching that game to see the moves can be interesting, but it's not so interesting anymore because we could also just put two engines and they play a better chess game. But it's still interesting watching people play live. So either you go to a live chess event, if you like chess, of course, or you watch chess broadcasts, which I do a lot, right, on Twitch, or just watch some commentary by Gotham Chess or something. It has become more interesting, and I think not exactly in the same, but live music will become more interesting. Again, people will crave seeing humans interact with music live. At least that's what I hope. I think that's where it's going.
What happens to the musicians? Who makes the money? Does Udio make it? Is anyone getting paid for the stuff it's trained
Oh, so the musicians that only do this kind of work, recording studio work, they will have to find another avenue, probably. Playing live, maybe streaming or something. But this has been going on for longer than just the AI stuff.
on? How do you even know what it's trained on? I went and testified in front of Congress for one of these, information things. It was I was in the 7th of 9 things, and they've done nothing about it. They don't even know what to do about it. I don't know what there can be done about it. But it's going to replace people. One of my things was I was thinking.
It will, because so I'm writing my 5th book now, and I just wrote the preface and the introduction. And then I asked ChatGPT. I wrote it myself and asked ChatGPT, to see what it thought. And said, it's good. I asked them for some improvements, and it gave me a really good text that, in some sentences, were indeed improvement. Other sentences I thought were a little bit too much. I just took some sentences from ChatGPT. I wanted to have one more paragraph, so I asked ChatGPT to generate one more paragraph to fill out the page, visually. And it came up with a great paragraph. And I used that paragraph, I changed some of the wording, but still, I don't have to go to an editor for that. I can just use ChatGPT and use my own judgment on what I like. That's not so different from generating AI music, of course. But the book is the book, right? People can buy the book, they can use the book. The stuff in the book is still mine, right? It's still my transcriptions. But when people go to a workshop, live workshop, they probably will go to a live workshop because they have one of my books. And there we have this interaction between, I generate some of the introduction and the preface with AI, but the end goal is a live interaction between me as a workshop teacher and students. So I think the focus should be on creating live events. And if you use AI to do that, I could even see it as a musician, right? Maybe I could use UDO to write some new tunes for me, for instance. It generates some jazz tunes. I say, write some bebop tunes. And then I take the tunes, I notate them, maybe I make some changes I like, and I start performing them live. And then there's a whole new element, like soloing. What kind of phrases do I know? What kind of licks do I know? What kind of comping am I going to do? What does the drummer do? There's a whole different human aspect. It's something that computers can't do, because it's not going to be interesting going to a jazz club and see 3 laptops jamming. It's not going to be interesting, maybe as a novelty, but you won't feel any connection. You want to see the musician with an instrument, and you can tell that this person has practiced their whole lives to do this, and they come up with great stuff that you really enjoy listening to.
You're on stage and you have somebody with a laptop, or a couple people, or people in the audience are prompting things, and then you have some guy that's got a great ear that can shred over stuff.
Wait, and they go back a little bit.
And one of my things was I was thinking you're on stage and you have somebody with a laptop, or a couple people, or people in the audience are prompting things, and then you have some guy that's got a great ear that can shred over stuff, and they improvise over, Fish kind of songs or something, right? Or Widespread Panic, your jam tracks, or whatever. The Grateful Dead, or they do some fusion stuff, and people that have a great ear and can improvise, and you can actually interact with it. That'd be a cool use for AI.
That's a cool idea, but I don't think it's gonna work if I think about it. Because what will happen is there will be trolls in the audience, and they're gonna say something like Fish style tune, but with a progression of giant steps. I probably be somebody that does that. So then you have to limit what people can prompt to a certain style and certain chord progressions. I don't think this is gonna work. Or it could be like a jazz musician, and you say death metal tune, System of a Down. This jazz musician is not gonna be happy improvising over that. So that sounds like a cool idea, but I don't think that would work. So then you have to limit what can be prompted. But then it's kind of the same as just playing with backing tracks anyway in the style that you like. So maybe it's going to happen, but it sounds a little bit not realistic.
Yeah, I can see that. But this, for general listening stuff, people are going to make up their own songs. It's like making up your own mixtape, except it's your own things that you already like. And you feel...
Yeah, true. But it's already happening. There are several companies, Epidemic Music, for instance, or Stream Beats. Harris Heller. Is it Harris Heller? Is his name? Stream Beats is a company that just produces music that you can use during Twitch streams. And the music is also very formulaic. I think it's written mostly by real people, but their job is, again, to make music that is not very intrusive, that you can use while you're playing Wukong, Black Myth or something, like a computer game. Yeah, so it's already happening, right?
Feel like you own it, even though you're actually combining works of other people that have already written things like this. So we're at this weird inflection point now, and I'm really curious to see what you guys think, if you can recognize this immediately like my kids can. The thing that
I can't. Maybe if I listen more, but again, I wouldn't listen to it. I'm not interested listening to it, right? But I've heard some AI-produced gypsy jazz. I can tell that is AI. Even though there's stuff in it that's very good, right? Why? Because it sounds like Django, right? So it just reminds me of Django. And then I go listen to Django because I know that's Django playing, right? And I can go to a live concert of Stoffel Rosenberg or Birel Lagrène and watch them play, see them play. It's such a different vibe, you know, and that's something that AI cannot do, that live vibe.
I couldn't believe is walking down the hall with my phone playing it, and Layla, why are you listening to AI again? I was like, what? You can hear that? She's, oh my God, it's so obvious. Love to know your thoughts. Don't forget, hit subscribe, leave a comment. Thanks for watching.
Yeah, very interesting video, great video, of course. Rick always makes great videos. Has 1 million views, I see. The link to the video is in the description. Go give it a like, watch it, maybe on his channel, put a comment there. I wonder what you think about my thoughts about this topic. Maybe I wasn't completely coherent in the comparison with chess because it's not one-to-one, but the general message is that I don't think AI will ruin music in the sense that a lot of people think it will ruin music. Because I don't think it will ruin live music. In fact, I think it will boost live music because people will appreciate live musicians more because they realize that all that music that they've been listening to for many years can just be produced by a computer. And so they might be more interested in watching humans play. Same with chess. You can watch the best chess game in the world, just use 2 different AIs, Stockfish versus Layla, I think, Layla. And then you get a chess game that is just out of this world, right? Like 2 aliens playing. Is it interesting? It is interesting to watch it at one time. But if you go to a chess tournament, there is much more there. There's people there talking, having fun, thinking, being nervous, being victorious, being sad. There's emotions there. And that's the one thing that computers cannot give you and will never be able to give you because, I mean, life, well, maybe robots, maybe in the far future we have robots that are indistinguishable from humans. But if they are indistinguishable from humans, then they are humans then, right? So if they can play a Charlie Parker saxophone, then I'd probably watch it because they're indistinguishable from humans. But I don't see that happening anytime soon, not in my lifetime. So my message is go practice, play live.